Vane feeders are much like cold feed bins in that they both are volumetric feeders. That is where the similarity ends. The aggregate in cold feed bins is rather uniform in density all the time. The aggregate in cold feed bins flows quite easily, usually without any mechanical stimulation. One revolution of the cold feed bin may yield 1,000 pounds of aggregate every time if the bin is not bridging, plugging up, or running empty. If the bin does run empty, it does not take long for the loader operator to visually notice or the bin flow sensor to sense the difference. The success of the cold feed bin and the vane feeder as reliable volumetric feeders differs sharply. When the speed is doubled from 40% to 80%, the tons per hour only increases from 5 tons per hour to 6.75 tons per hour. The speed increased 100% and the flow rate increased 35%. Couple that problem with varying densities and bridging, and this measuring device is no longer considered a measuring device. Normally, the weight on the weigh pod scale decreases slowly as material flows out of the pod through the vane feeder. The control system adjusts the vane feeder speed for the flow rate required. Normally means that the silo is not being filled while the plant is running. Storage silos may need replenishing many times during production. Filling a silo can sometimes take as long as an hour. An inherent problem in this design exists that does not allow the weigh pod system to monitor the flow rate of material out of the pod while filling the silo. Tanker operators usually want to empty their vessels as quickly as possible. Therefore, they adjust the conveying pressure as high as possible. Normally, the weigh pod is vented to atmosphere through the baghouse. This does not happen with the high air volumes used to pneumatically convey the material into the silo. The resulting back pressure is now fed back through the vent pipe, causing the weigh pod scale to increase significantly. Consequently, a smooth and accurate flow rate is no longer being indicated. While in production, the depleting weigh pod scale reading of 425 could jump up 200 to 300 pounds as soon as the tanker's discharge air begins to pressurize the silo. The automatic controls are being confused by the 787 pounds now being displayed and are probably feeding material to the plant at the wrong rate. The only alternative the operator has is to place the controls in manual and estimate the correct vane feeder speed, hoping that the density remains constant and that bridging does not happen while the silo is being filled.